So how did you become Hali?
It was an adventure. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of, making up games and playing outside, and the typical 70s where there was quite a bit of chaos, from very young parents. They were 18 and then they had 3 kids, 18, 19, 20, boy, girl, boy. So they were children raising children, and it was chaotic and fun and loud and nutty, and it was basically get out of the house when it was light in the morning and come back at dark, and if you didn't come back when it was dark, then you were in trouble. It was basically one of those. So it was a lot of my own creating adventures. My dad always described me as a bit of a soldier. I always did what I was told. That doesn't mean that I didn't do other things too. I did a lot of bad things. I don't know, I was somewhat invisible for a very long period of time. So I got to be whoever I wanted to be, and sometimes that was, I remember I had a pony, and my friend and I would run through these fields on her ponies and pretend we were cops chasing drug dealers one day, and go the next day we're super women doing these other things, and we were riding our race horses, and we were always adventuresome. So when my dad would come to me and say, you need to go do this, and I would do it with no questions asked. I would just do it. And he said one of his biggest fears was that I would always do it, and soldiers go into battle and not all of them come out. And he says he didn't realize till later in life that might not have been such a good thing for me, because I didn't always come out of the battles unscathed. But I came out of them going, okay, was that good? Was that bad? Did I learn from it? But in some ways it was also very sad, because it's a very lonely place to be. I think being a soldier is not necessarily being a team player, not necessarily being part of something, but you're putting yourself out there, and it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to.
Were you lonely as a child?
I think I was, actually. I think I was quite lonely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, in my own sense of loneliness I didn't need people to entertain me. I could entertain myself. But looking back, it was lonely. I don't have friends from junior high school or high school. Those formative years, I was at the farm in Saskatchewan.
What qualities do you think women need to be successful in their careers?
There's many, but I think bravery is certainly one of them. I think you need to be brave. Wins and losses and all those things, but you've got to try it. One of the things about WIMI and even your project, I love the fact that we're encouraging ladies to just try. Mm-hmm. Run for a board, lead your community, just try it.
Did you ever stand up for something that you knew was right but felt like it jeopardized a work opportunity or jeopardized a relationship at work?
Yes, there's been a number of times over the years where in our business, you're in a family business, people are saying you're taking sides. And quite often it would be, my brothers would say, you're just taking dad's side. You're always agreeing with dad. And that sounds a little frivolous, but it wasn't. It was like I either had to choose their opinion or my dad's opinion and not even have my own, even though I would say what I thought. It always kind of got pushed towards you're agreeing with dad. And that did cause some splintering in our family business and within the family for a number of years, even somewhat recently. And I don't know if they, daddy's girl, I don't know what they think, my brothers, and that's probably been the most painful and the hardest ones to get by. Look, I have my own opinion, and just because I agree with him doesn't mean I'm taking sides, with him all the time and saying, I don't value your opinions either. I think that may be the case in a lot of family companies, but it was certainly something that was very difficult, and even to this day is difficult.
How have you handled failures or setbacks in your life?
I cry a lot. No, sometimes I do. I mean, I remember being at MBABC, and the association was going, this is business, of course, going through a turbulent time, and we were changing executive directors, and we had some very aggressive personalities on the board, some of which that I actually broke down, and I was crying. I was like, there's nothing else I can do, because everything was so, it wasn't out of my control, but their emotions were out of my control. And they were being mean people, and I was just like, what is going on here? You're being selfish and mean, and this is not about you. And I had a real hard time with that, because I didn't understand why they couldn't see the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. I had to just push through it, honestly. But when I come into situations like that, I really try and be reflective. But I am still such a push forward person. I can't dwell on the past. Mm-hmm. The past has made me who I am today, and it'll be like that forever, no matter what happens tomorrow, something comes out of this interview or out of this trip. who knows? I don't know. You know, you can be a bundle of stress and nerves, and I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't make change. And there are certain points that you can't make the change necessarily that you want to, but there might be a part of it that you can. There might be some little difference, or you might flip the coin over. Boris Bozic was so great for that. You know, he taught me how to. I have my opinion, and I'm going down this road. And he was always the opposite. I think, and he did it. I'm sure he did it on purpose. And I learned a lot from him because he was like flipping the coin. Like in a bad situation, something that you think is you can't get past, and it's so stressful, and then you flip it over and go, okay, what is this really all about? Who is it all about? What can we do with it? And inevitably, you come out with something.
What have you sacrificed personally for your career?
Yeah, I didn't get married till I was 40. That was interesting, and I didn't have any of my own children. And you know, when I go back to, I always wanted to be a rancher's wife, and you know, I was not necessarily, I didn't think I was going to have 3 or 4 or 5 children, but I just thought I would have this family. And all, you know, then you work, and you get so involved in your business, and all of a sudden you're 37, 38 years old. And
Yeah.
what the heck just happened? Like, where did the time go?
Oops, I forgot to have kids.
Yeah, or, you know, gosh, we got engaged 4 years ago. I guess we're supposed to get married. Like, you know, all that. It just, everything just kept getting pushed back. And I don't know if it's a regret. I'm not sad about it, because obviously that was my path.
Yeah.
And I have 2 incredible stepchildren out of that Darren brought to the family. But I do think back sometimes and go, oh my gosh, if I would have slowed down just a little bit and maybe got out of my own bubble and looked at myself and gone, oh, you know, is there more for you than the family business?
What do you do to unwind?
I love to cook. And
I know, you're always
I
posting
love to cook.
recipes on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Honestly, like it sounds really silly. Making soup stock is like, I know it sounds crazy, is so therapeutic, because it takes a long time to do it well, and you know, there's not many shortcuts, and I just love doing that.